are here at CityLab Paris, and I'm joined here by GT Bynum, who is the mayor of Tulsa. I just love to start these kinds of conversations by asking you to share the story of how you decided to be mayor, or why you wanted to be mayor.
Oh, well, I grew up, when I was born, my grandfather was the mayor of Tulsa, and I was very close to him and my grandmother, and so my whole life growing up, I would hear from people who would come up to us whenever we'd go out somewhere for dinner or whatever, and they would talk to my grandfather and then tell me what a great mayor he had been, and here's why, here are all the reasons why. And so all my life I heard from people, one, that they valued the job of a mayor, and then the things that they valued in it. And I love public policy, love history, and after I got out of college, had the opportunity to work in the U.S. Senate and learn policy from that standpoint, but then got involved at a local level and saw that the tangible nature of the things that you work on in city government is just so much greater than at any other level, and that's what drew me to want to be a mayor.
So there is this kind of narrative that, as you know, in the United States, certainly Congress has become kind of stagnant and not sort of taking the actions that it may have in the past. Cities and mayors have become more powerful, sort of by necessity. And I'm interested in, if that's true in your experience, and if so, how you balance those very local needs that you were just describing, the potholes, trash collection, with larger level changes that need to be made.
Well, one of the reasons that I wanted to be the mayor is I felt like there's no job in the world that makes a bigger daily impact on the lives of people I care about than mayor of my hometown. And one of the wonderful things about attending an event like CityLab and getting to visit with mayors from all around the world is I've found that that's a common theme, regardless of what country they happen to be a mayor from. Generally, that's the thing that drove them, as the ability to make an impact in the lives of people they care about in their hometown, usually. And so I definitely see that. I've seen that having worked at the federal level as a staffer in Congress for 6 years, and then having been on our city council for 9 years and mayor now for almost a year. The ability for me to make an impact in the lives of people in Tulsa is much greater. The things that they notice on their daily lives is much greater as a mayor than anything that a member of our congressional delegation or even that the President of the United States will do. What I've found interesting in the last few years is there's become this almost acceptance, not just in the United States but in other countries as well, that the philosophical nature of what we've allowed national government to devolve into, where they're having philosophical debates instead of fixing day-to-day problems, has kind of pushed the responsibility onto mayors. And the exciting thing now is that you can have collective impact if mayors, whether that's in a region or in a country or internationally, agree on something that they want to work together on collectively, they can make a big impact.
You've worked closely with 100 Resilient Cities and I think some other kind of capacity building organizations in the U.S. To, for example, hire a chief resilience officer in Tulsa, right? And sort of develop a resilience strategy as it relates to climate change and other issues facing Tulsa. So I wonder, first off, how do you define resilience? Particularly in a non-coastal city, as it relates to climate change.
Sure. Well, the issue for us, it's interesting, and 100 Resilient Cities has done a great job of recognizing that resilience is an issue all around the world, but the nature of what each city faces from a resilience standpoint can be different. And so for us in Tulsa, the issue that we need great help on internationally are issues of racial disparity. A child that is born in the predominantly African-American part of our city today is expected to live over 10 years less than a child that's born elsewhere in the city. And we've tried to grapple with these issues locally for years and not done so successfully, obviously, by that statistic being there. But the network that we get with a group like 100 Resilient Cities is that we can draw on the expertise all around the world and bring it to Tulsa. For us, the notion of resilience is very simple. It's what are those issues that endanger your ability to thrive over the long term? You'll have stresses. Like in Oklahoma, we have tornadoes. We're in Tornado Alley. There's more tornadoes in Oklahoma than anywhere else in the world. We have flooding. We now have earthquakes. But we've found how to be resilient in spite of those. That's part of our culture. Where we've not been able to deal with effectively thus far are issues of racial disparity, and so that's why we're tapping into this network and the expertise that it brings.
Thanks so much for your time.
No, thank you.
It's really, really a pleasure to meet you.
Good, great, thank you.